Hello and welcome to the Regista Football Podcast. My name is Jack, one of your co-hosts. I'm joined here by Ben.
Hello, everyone.
We are here to cover a couple of kind of like post-match games: Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur, and we're also going to cover the Champions League games that we've just. I mean, at least I've unfortunately watched for the most part.
I've enjoyed this week, Jack. I've enjoyed this week is all I'm gonna say right now.
At least one of us has, that's for sure. We're here at North Park Beer Company in North Park in San Diego. This is our first episode. I will caveat this episode and say this is going to be one of our kind of like feature episodes we make for the Regista Football Podcast. But the main pod, or like the longer length pod, will be in a different format to this. It'll be longer, be a bit more analytics based. This is for us to sit down, talk about the football that we've just watched, and potentially, at least for me right now, use this for a bit of therapy. Let's introduce ourselves, I guess. My name is Jack. I'm a Liverpool fan. I've been a Liverpool fan for as long as I can remember. I come from Bristol in the United Kingdom, and I now live in San Diego. I've been kind of dropped into this interesting football culture here in San Diego, where a bunch of people support a bunch of different teams, and I met Ben, and we decided to start this podcast. Ben, introduce yourself.
I'm Ben. Live in San Diego as well. Arsenal supporter. Have supported Arsenal since about 2008. I'll really say. Haven't really seen them win anything other than FA Cup, but was introduced by a good friend, Jeff. I love football, and I've watched football probably a bit more diligently in the last 4 to 5 years. And I think what really attracts me to football is the unique areas of statistics that we get to watch. And I think Jack is also in that same area as well. And I love talking football. I probably talk about football way too much, and this is just another outlet. So
Exactly. I want to caveat this episode by saying I've had about 4 pints already. I, I, I hate to use the term, but I'm in the process of drowning my sorrows, and I'm sure we'll get to that in a bit. But ultimately, we are here to talk about football, kind of everything that's football, like statistics, general vibes, specific stats of specific games, how we feel about specific games. This podcast isn't dedicated only to Arsenal and Liverpool. It's also dedicated to other games across the Premier League that we find interesting. Like I said, this is a different type of format. This is a type of format that allows us to just sit here and chat about what we've seen and about what's gone on. So, first match we're going to cover. Actually, let's start with a positive result first. Let's start with Arsenal Tottenham.
absolutely. It's hard to think of a time when a result hasn't been positive for Arsenal versus Tottenham at the Emirates or home.
Facts. Yeah.
They've only won at Arsenal twice in the history of the Premier League. Once at Highbury in the first year of the Premier League.
Yunus Kabul.
Yep.
Big nod. I remember that, man.
Yep. And then again, 15 years ago at the Emirates, 2010. That was a rough game for me to watch. I think I took a pause from football after that match, actually, because I realized how bad Arsenal was in that banter era.
Was that Harry Redknapp Spurs? It was Harry Redknapp, wasn't it? I swear to fucking God. I'll find it out later.
Yeah, please
I swear
find
it was
out.
Harry Redknapp.
But it was a 3-2 match. I remember Cesc Fabregas's run through the midfield and that goal, and I was hopeful, and we just couldn't bring it. We just couldn't bring it home. I was in college. I remember watching that. I invited a bunch of friends over because I was introduced to the Arsenal, and then we watched this match together, and we lost, and I was just embarrassed. And that was an embarrassing game. But yesterday's game was far from.
Yeah.
What did you pick up from yesterday's game? Yesterday? 2 days ago. Sorry.
The funny thing to me was I expected Spurs to come and play quite defensive. I think they've done that for at least most of the season so far. I think a lot of what Spurs are at the moment is they keep it tight. They don't concede a lot of goals, unlike today. Typically don't concede a lot of goals. I think they really struggle progressing the ball through the midfield with Bentancur Polinia. We know what Polinia is as a player. He's a destroyer.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't particularly pair Polinia with Bentancur. I think that stops him from being able to effectively progress the ball. My main takeaway from that game is just how good Arsenal looked. They didn't let Spurs play out of their half a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Early in the game, there was a lot of like Spurs attempts to play long balls over the top to Richarlison, and your centre backs were just hoovering it up. You get that first goal through Eze, right? No, it's Trossard.
Trossard has
brilliant
the first goal.
football. Brilliant football. That's actually Marino, isn't it? That like chip through ball over to Trossard. Great control for Trossard to find space in the box. And it's 1-0. And at least for me, and I don't know about you, as soon as it goes 1-0, I'm like, Arsenal win this game, man.
Yeah. It's funny how you call that out, because actually that's one of the things I saw often. If you remember, even before that, Eze had a little chip ball over the top. Mm-hmm. Declan had that first touch straight into Vicario. And I noticed that trend over and over. So what Arsenal typically do is they take the ball all the way to the back line, into the touch line, and then they try to cross it in. Yeah. But what I've noticed they've been doing, especially in the last game against Tottenham, we'll get into Bayern as well, but they actually stop progressing the ball at the top of the 18, and then they play these little chips, and that's the goal that Trossard has.
Yeah.
Trossard was going for the right side. It goes off of the end of end, and it goes into the left side. But still, it comes from this ball that goes up and over. And that happens for that Declan almost goal. It happens for Trossard's goal. It doesn't really happen again, but that's kind of a tactic that I've noticed Arsenal's been using.
I agree.
Which I like. It's this penetrative ball rather than what many people have called the donut of death, the donut of despair. It just goes round back and gets recycled.
For anyone that can't see right now, we're both like circling our finger round and round. But, because like, at least from my perspective, like a lot of last season, Arsenal dominate teams. That's how they play. I think a lot of it, at least for me, like a lot of the problem comes down to the ability to create chances from open play.
Yep.
This can't be a criticism for this game, can it? Because like, you battered them.
Yeah.
Like actually battered them. Other talking points, I think this is probably Eze's coming out game for Arsenal.
He is
scores
the
a hat trick.
Yeah, joint top scorer for Arsenal for the season.
Which is fucking wild, because like, I remember even before this game, I was a little bit unsure about the role that you guys wanted him to play. And I know that sounds wild. He plays that specific position much different to Martin Odegaard does.
Yep.
I think he's less effective picking the ball up at the edge of the box and more effective picking the ball up in space. Eze. He shut me up. I'll tell you that much. Great performance. The one goal flatters Tottenham in that game, I think. Richarlison scores a goal, which, quite frankly, is pretty lucky. I mean, what's the XG of that goal?
XG of that goal was a .03.
Yeah.
That was .03 XG. Tottenham had .07 XG total.
Which, by the way, guys, isn't their worst offensive performance of the season. Against Chelsea at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they put in a performance where they generated .05 XG, which is like, honestly, a bit of a not great. You know, you don't want to be doing that against Arsenal at the Emirates. Though I think you at this stage, if you're Tottenham, you kind of take what you can get. But like from Tottenham's perspective, you don't want to see those type of statistics. Like, I think going into the game, I think they were, and I'm not a Spurs fan, so believe, by all means, if you're a Spurs fan, tell me if I'm wrong. I think they were coming into that game not knowing if they could win that game or not. Once they score, I think it's like, oh, we get a goal back in the game, but ultimately I think it was Arsenal's to win.
I think I went to the game nervous just because of how Spurs have been away from home.
Mm-hmm.
I put a lot into that. Spurs have been really good away from home. They've been outperforming every other team in the league. They were number 1 away from home in the league. And so I never want to doubt the Spur match. But there's some other really, really fun stats that you see through the game. Overall, we talked about Arsenal and penetrating, right?
Yeah.
So I want to put this out. The most touches, Arsenal have had 379 touches in an opposition box,
Wow.
penalty box. That is the most in the league right
That's
now.
across the team, right?
Across the team.
Makes sense.
Across the team, which is really great. And even more so, Arsenal has given up the least number of touches in a penalty area in opposition box.
Makes sense.
159. Who's number 2?
Tottenham?
No.
Newcastle?
No. It's a London club.
Chelsea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 211, almost 50. There's 50 fewer touches there, which is kind of wild. Which were just some fun stats I took from that game. Which I think it just kind of tells more of where Arsenal is in this season. They're being more aggressive. They feel comfortable in the defense, which makes it all really gel well for me, honestly.
I'd say red flags for me at the start of games. Spurs start with a 5-3-2. I mean, that's how they're defending against the ball.
Yeah.
Last few games, correct me if I'm wrong, they played a 4-2-3-1. So they decided to go with a back five. I understand why they decided to go with a back five, by the way. But they do that. Essentially, the only chances I call them chances, but that's a loose term. Anytime they decide to attack the goal is off of long throws or set pieces, especially in that first half.
Yeah.
Their main threat, which I think is Mohamed Kudus, has to drop so deep in that first half to collect the ball.
Yeah.
Where I think you negate a lot of his threat if he's having to drop that deep.
It's interesting that you said they were playing a 5-3-2 because I felt like they were playing a 5-4-1 where Kudus has been a midfield player in that game.
Really?
Which I was like, why is he playing so deep? And I feel like they did have a pivot between Kudus and Richarlison. Richarlison doesn't actually pull back on defense that often. Kudus does have more of those defensive responsibilities.
Yeah.
And so that's mainly why I called it a 5-4-1.
Okay.
But you can see Richarlison will press laterally, but he will not actually press back.
No.
Where Kudus will put in the work and press back.
He works pretty hard, Mohamed Kudus. I still think that's one of the signings of the summer. I think
Absolutely.
Mohamed Kudus.
Yeah.
I think he will come good for Spurs, but I don't think they're in the position really to compete with you right now. And I don't say that in such a way which is despairing to Spurs, but it's like I think Arsenal are the best team in the league at the moment. And going away to Arsenal, it's going to be a tough task for pretty much anyone. And I think the rest of the game, it kind of showed that, Once Spurs had to open up and frankly, once they decided to open up, they still really didn't do much offensively.
Yeah.
But Arsenal completely exposed space.
Yeah.
And the second goal was them absolutely lacking getting back into shape. And Arsenal completely capitalized on that. Some beautiful play from outside the box, and then a finish from Eze. To me, that's game over at that stage, at least for me. I don't see them. I know they score a goal eventually what was it? When did they score the goal? Was it 3-1 or 2-1?
Tottenham scored at 3-1.
Yeah, at least for me, once Arsenal go 2-0 up, it's finished.
Yeah.
Because, how many times in the last couple of years have you seen Arsenal lose games from 2-0 up? It doesn't happen a lot, does it?
I'm going to find that stat. I don't remember a time. I know we've drawn at 2-0 up. I don't know if we've lost 2-0 up. But, yeah, after when the third goal happened, I was just getting back from halftime. I was getting settled in. I think I glanced on my phone. I looked up. And then all of a sudden, the ball's going again. And at 3-0, I was like, yeah, game's gone. We're finished.
Yeah.
When Richarlison had that wonder, and I will say, it was the right tackle. It was the right goal at the right time.
Yeah.
And it's the second time I've watched a Tottenham goal and been like, I can't be mad at that goal. The other one was the Rabona goal.
Eric Lamela.
Yeah, Lamela.
Mate, Eric Lamela, Jesus. Eric Lamela is like a proper Spurs cult hero.
Yeah.
And it's mainly because of those ridiculous goals that
Rabona goal through. I think he nutmegged Saliba on that as well.
He did. Yeah. It was crazy. That was like his last dance for Tottenham, that was.
When I saw that goal, I was like, I cannot be mad at this goal. It's Tottenham against Arsenal. I cannot be mad at this goal. But yeah,
yeah.
it's one of those goals that happens in a derby match, which you do not remember unless you remember that derby match, and then it just goes by.
But 4-1. 3-1. Was it 4-1?
4-1.
Bloody hell. I should know that. Fair result in the end. Leaves Arsenal top of the league. 6 points behind Chelsea.
Yeah, 6 points ahead of Chelsea.
Ahead of Chelsea.
7 ahead of
City.
City.
And then an ungodly amount of points ahead of Liverpool. Don't know why we've been talking about Liverpool in this round at this stage, but it is what it is.
We got to talk about Liverpool.
We do, but before we get to Liverpool, talk to me about the game today. We don't need to touch on it for too long.
Yeah.
Arsenal Bayern in the Champions League. Arsenal win 3-1 at the end of the day. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I will say this. After probably Arsenal Anfield and Arsenal against City, the most traumatic experience I've had in football is probably Bayern.
Understandable.
There's a lot of reasons. There's maybe 10 to 2 reasons that I feel nervous about that game every single time.
10 to 2, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Troops and DT outside of the Allianz yelling at Robbie, we built the Emirates to compete with these guys.
Yeah.
And look at what's just happened to us. Arsenal come away on the day today with a 3-1 victory. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't say that flatters Bayern, but like from minute one, when Arsenal start creating chances, they give Bayern problems that they're not used to dealing with. At least that was my main takeaway. Whenever Arsenal would put balls in the box and there were bodies in the box,
Yeah.
Bayern did not know how to deal with that. Off set pieces especially, but even just like normal crosses,
Yeah.
I don't feel they dealt with them specifically well. Bayern get a goal off of Leonard Carl, which is honestly a beautiful bit of football.
It was a great goal.
But I think 3-1 is a fair result. I can't think of a lot of chances that Bayern create outside of that goal.
Yeah, I think 3-1 is probably a result better than I'd expected.
Yeah.
I think when we were talking before the match, you predicted a 2-1. I aligned with a 2-1 as well. I thought Arsenal was most likely going to win this game. I knew a set piece was going to be involved. I remember the commentator saying Arsenal hasn't had a goal from a corner in 2 matches, and it was a goal from a corner. Timber, Great header. And you're right, like they just did not know how to deal with those set pieces. It was funny. Every single time Arsenal lined up for a set piece, it was weird watching Bayern trying to match what every other Premier League team did, and they felt uncomfortable every single time.
Yeah.
Even that
I completely agree.
That final free kick from Declan Rice when Bayern lined up in the straight line, and it was so straight that it felt weird. I was like, this isn't the kind of line that Premier League teams.
It's not just straight. It's so fucking deep.
Yeah.
Like Neuer is pinned on his line.
Yeah.
At least from my perspective, like when Timber scores that first goal, it's like Neuer has no space to claim that ball. For him to generate any momentum to claim that ball, dude has to be in the back of his net.
Yep.
I just feel that's the wrong way to deal with the way Arsenal are trying to crowd out the keeper. They're trying to give the keeper a lack of room to move. You don't equally flood the box to make it easier to pin the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And essentially what they're trying to do is create chaos.
Yeah.
They know the delivery is going to be good enough, and they know guys are in there to finish at the end of the day, and Timber did that.
Jack, you said something that another club in the Premier League actually did to neutralize this. What was that, if you can recall?
So I remember, actually, I don't know if it was against you guys, but earlier this year, one of the things that I took from it, I watched Chelsea play a game against who were they playing? I can't remember who they're playing now, but they were essentially playing a team that had the aim of delivering a bunch of balls into the box, a bunch of long balls. What they did, and I really liked this strategy, they essentially took players away from their own box defensively. And what that did is it gave the fucking goalkeeper room to collect the ball. like room to command the box. Right now, what I see in the way like heavy set piece teams are trying to attack the ball, they flood the box, they stop the keeper from being able to move from the line. Give your keeper space. He has hands that are higher than any head. Let him come and command the ball. And what we think is probably, at least for me, I think Manuel Neuer is the best goalkeeper ever.
Yeah,
I mean that.
yeah. With and without the mustache, yeah.
We need to talk more about that mustache. Do you remember the start of the game? I was like, what is he playing at? Like, come on, Manuel. You've been around for years. You don't need to introduce the mustache now, mate. But yeah, just pinned on his line. Didn't have much to do. Urian and Timber, 1-0. And at least for me, like when they go 1-0 up, I think Arsenal are the type of team. 1-0 up is a problem. Bayern equalize through, like we said, like a beautiful passage of play.
Yeah.
Really big long ball over, at least from what I remember. Guy cuts it back to Leonard Carl, who's on fire at the moment.
Yeah.
And they go 1-1. But like, I'm not even saying this to blow smoke up your ass. From my perspective, I don't see Bayern being able to win that game. Like I said, I don't know how much longer they can deal with this type of shit. When you guys go 2-1, I think it's even harder for them.
Yeah.
But
when we go 2-1 with one of our subs in the second half, with Calafiori coming in, first touch of the game, beautiful cross in. Like, I was just like, oh, I feel good now. Like, anything above this is just
absolutely.
icing.
Absolutely. Like, once you go 2-1 up, and like, I think Arteta throughout the game makes intelligent subs. One of the things I would say, and trust me, guys, you need to get used to this. We've been drinking a bit. We might jump a bit. At least for these episodes anyway, but you'll be all right. Miles Lewis-Skelly, not sure he should start the game. He's kind of coming in from the cold, but he played quite well. I think Olise gave him some problems.
Yeah.
He give pretty much any left back in the world problems. He's a really good football player. But I think you negate the effect that Olise can have on the game. But at the same time, like, Arteta makes consistently intelligent subs to manage the game once you go 2-1.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the kind of subs, the kind of depth that we have, being able to pull Miles out, putting Calafiori, who is honestly probably a more aggressive left back than the Miles is.
Definitely, yeah.
Miles wants to invert while Calafiori really wants to do an overlap, which changes the game completely. You do not expect that, right?
Yeah.
You're used to this left back inverting so much that you like condense in, then you have this new left back come in who overlaps, has that first time shot in. It changes the entire dynamic. You have to change how you defend.
At least for me, I think like at home, when you're like on top especially, I wouldn't want a left back inverting. To be fair, I wouldn't want fullbacks inverting at all.
Yeah.
I understand the idea, the concept behind inverting fullbacks, but like, we're not here to defend counterattacks. We're here to score fucking goals. We're at home.
Yeah.
And once Calafiori comes on, delivers that ball, 2-1. I think at 2-1, I think Bayern, I don't think they played particularly well offensively.
Yeah.
And it just leads the way to Arsenal to win the game 3-1.
Yeah.
Post that game, how are you feeling about Arsenal's Champions League campaign? Like, what do you think you can do?
I have other Arsenal supporter friends who think we're doing the double, the treble, the quad. I've watched Arsenal a lot longer than they have. I know that knockout phase is a lot different than this new league phase. I know that the teams that you pull up, the time of the season is different. I'd be very happy if we can get to the final. I don't know if this is Arsenal's Champions League season. And to be completely honest with you, I want a Premier League before I want a Champions League. That's just where I am as a supporter. I want to win in my own league, and then let's focus on Champions League. Will you call me not ambitious? That's okay. I'm fine with that. I've watched FA Cups. That's all I've watched. That's all I know, to be honest with you. There's great highlight reels, but I'm okay with that.
So I think from Arsenal's perspective, I think the way the Champions League campaign goes last year should deliver them with quite a lot of confidence. Uh, it's tough for me to say Arsenal are in the position to win doubles, including the two majors. For what it's worth, I think Arsenal will come out of this season with a major trophy. Uh, for me to believe you have to win the Champions League, I'm going to have to see it. At least for me, anyway. But I think with this win, you go top of the Champions League standings,
Yeah.
and you're set in really good stead, really, for the rest of the competition.
Yeah.
Although we both know finishing first in the Champions League table means absolutely nothing.
You're right. There's that draw. There's that draw against
yeah.
the random team who does incredible things in the second half of the campaign.
So that's Arsenal. Let's go on to Liverpool. So Liverpool play Nottingham Forest on the weekend. The game ends 3-0 at Anfield, which is fucking wild to me, I'll be honest with you. Before I kind of get into complaining about the game, what do you make of it, Ben?
I was surprised. I think before the game at Anfield, I predicted it was going to be, I think, a 2-1 if we look back at our notes.
Yeah.
I thought that they'd let a goal in because Nottingham Forest does something once in a while. New manager bounce. Sean, Dyche ball is just a weird thing to experience, even at home. But yeah, I was very surprised. It's this thing that Liverpool has almost reconnected with their defensive prowess and bringing those defenders up to score. We had two defenders who scored in that match. Is that right?
Murillo scored. No, not two defenders. Murillo, then some Italian guy scores that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
And Morgan Gibbs-White.
Okay, it was Morgan Gibbs-White. Okay. Yeah, but that Murillo goal was almost like last season, where Murillo or Milokovic gets up into the box, set piece, goal. So I was quite surprised by that match. I honestly thought it was going to be a Liverpool win. Defensively, I feel like Liverpool haven't been quite where they have been in the past, but I think it really breaks down in the midfield is what I've been seeing overall.
I agree.
I know you have thoughts on that. I think that Saab Spazlai has been an incredible player for them.
Agreed.
He was in a right back position because Frimpong once again was injured. So I feel like that also impacted the game overall.
Yeah.
In possession, in midfield dominance. What were your thoughts overall?
Let's start with the lineups.
Yeah.
We go with Isak over Ekitike. I think the manager is put in a position really where he has a £130 million asset.
Yeah.
That he has to play to some degree of fitness. Whatever that fitness is, he has to get there. So he starts with Isak. Szoboszlai starts at right back, but I would say where I disagree with putting probably your best player of the year out of position, I don't think that's a hindrance to Liverpool in the first 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about the first 30 minutes for a little bit. Liverpool in the first 30 minutes are worthy of a lead in the game. We generate 1 XG at the 30-minute mark. Biggest chance we create in that era, or part of the game, is McAllister basically shoots it at fucking Elliot Anderson's head. And it's quite literally from the 6-yard box. It's a 0.3 XG chance. I think the way that's looked at by Opta is actually undervaluing that chance. Based on where he is, that should be a way higher than that. But 0.3, Elliot Anderson gets a block on it. Liverpool 30 minutes in. And I think we've played quite well. Some of the criticism Salah's got over the last few weeks, at least for me, weren't showing their head in that first 30 minutes of the game. I think Liverpool were controlling that game. And I know this is audio format, but like I have the momentum chart in front of me, and I'll be honest with you, it was absolutely one-sided. For that 30 minutes, really, Liverpool moved the ball really well. They progressed the ball really well, actually, and it comes down to what's the term? Rotations with Szoboszlai and Jones, both of them moving it right back and like switching between where they're playing for attacking midfield. That they're moving the ball up really well, up to higher like parts of the pitch, but can't create like killer chances because of how well Nottingham Forest are defending. And honestly, for me, once it goes 1-1, it is a unmitigated fucking disaster from there. Like the players just absolutely crumble from there. I'm not sure why that is, and there's a bunch of things to say. You know, they've gone through a lot. Diogo Jota, that type of stuff. Consistently going 1-0 down in games. We did that last year as well, by the way, and under Jurgen in his last year managing Liverpool. But it's absolutely brutal to watch your football team go 1-0 down, and as soon as they go 1-0 down, you think they're going to lose the game. That's exactly where I was.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look at the overall possession stats, passing accuracy, overall, like Liverpool was dominating that match overall.
Yeah, so it's like, but the problem is, it's like, if you are in a position where you are so frail or fragile, and you go 1-0 down, and you don't have like what's the term, like the gumption to be able to come back and like really fight your way back into the game.
Yeah.
And that's what Liverpool were, you know, like they go into halftime at 1-0, and I'm like, okay, although I've not seen Liverpool play well at 1-0 down the whole of the season, and I haven't, I'll be honest with you, it's still only 1-0. Like there are gaps to be made, and we can still come back from that. But like the fucking manner that they concede that second goal is genuinely fucking unacceptable. They completely switch off after halftime, and within 36 seconds, they are 2-0 down.
Yeah.
McAllister misses a fucking tackle in the box. I understand. He doesn't want to clean the guy out. I fully get it. But you cannot concede that fucking early, like after half. So you're 2-0 down. After frailties of being 1-0 down, 2-0 down seems like an unassailable fucking mountain to climb.
Yeah. I feel like Liverpool is digging their way out of a hole right
Constantly.
now. Yeah.
But it's all the time, Ben.
Yeah.
It's like you go 1-0 down. So we'll get into PSV. But like you know you're struggling coming back from 1-0. So why the fuck are you going 1-0 down? I just don't understand it. It's like I honestly don't understand it. In this specific game, for me, from my perspective, it's like we dominate the first 33 minutes before they go 1-0 up. Once they go 1-0 up, the team is absolutely abject.
Yeah.
Like, they're unable to bring themselves back from that position. And I don't know where it comes from. For me, it ultimately, I mean, let me talk to you about the stats.
I was gonna ask, like, what are you seeing in the data?
At halftime, we are 1.18 xG. At 30 minutes, we were 1 xG.
Yeah.
Forest have generated 0.25 xG in that first half with a goal. Statistic: Murillo's goal that puts them 1-0 up has an immediate xG of 0.1, but a post-shot xG of 0.9. You can tell me whether you think that's hard lines or not. Maybe that is hard lines, but he still put it in the back of the net, and you have to fucking respond from that. You're at Anfield, but they don't. So they go in 1-0 at halftime, and like they concede again. And for me, honestly, right now where Liverpool are, once they concede the second, I think the game is finished. I do. Like, I think it's finished.
Is that a defensive mentality? Is that an overall team mentality? Is that
everything.
Management? Is that everything?
It's everything, Ben.
Okay.
Like, it's the idea of whenever we've gone down this year, I think Slot has thrown the tactical playbook out of the window. He takes defenders off and brings attackers on.
Yeah.
When you have 6 attackers on the pitch, what fucking shape are you playing on, eh? Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? I understand it from his perspective. We need a goal, but like, surely you've worked on something in the week to suggest this is the way home. To throw that out the window and then consistently bring on attackers and destroy the shape. And you can see that in the way we concede the third goal. It's somewhat against the run of play. Do we deserve to win the game? No way do we deserve to win the game. But like, we concede that third goal because there's no remaining shape in the team.
Yeah.
We've substituted all of our fucking players and we concede a goal really based on that. Like, we go 3-0 down and it's genuinely the end of the game at that point. 3-0 at Anfield. There's not much more I can say. Like, it's just, I understand it from the team's perspective. Like, it's, you lose Jota. Everyone is obviously gutted about that. Robbo comes out earlier in the week talking about the stuff with Portugal making the World Cup and Scotland making the World Cup. But like, lads, the first 5 games, this wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
And I hate to sound insensitive, but it's like, we can't keep rocking up on the job and losing fucking football matches.
Yeah.
It's a hindrance to what we're trying to do. And I completely understand, like, we're going through a tough moment at the minute. And it's not solely, the pin isn't put in one thing. Like, I think what happens is down to a bunch of different factors. But right now, we need to win football matches. And you cannot fucking go 3-0 down at Anfield.
Yeah, I feel like there's this Liverpool is a great football club. A very hard thing happened to them this summer.
Yeah.
Something happened to football this summer.
It did.
I remember when I woke up to that news of Diego Jota.
Yeah.
And I love Diego Jota more than I hate him. As much as I was scared of him being in the starting lineup against Arsenal, because he always loved to go against Arsenal.
Loved to go against Arsenal, yeah.
I hate more of what happened to him.
Me too.
Right? And I think that's most everyone who enjoys football.
I think so too.
If you don't think that, I don't care about what you think. And I think that's an important thing and an important factor. But apart from that,
I agree with you, man.
And Jack, you and I have had conversations about personal life and football and how that impacts you. At a certain point, yes, it's a very impactful thing, but how do you progress and how do you move forward from that, right?
So, like, at least from my perspective, Arne is in a very difficult position at the start of this season.
Yeah.
He's looking, and we'll get into Arne's position in a bit, but he's dealt with an unprecedented situation. And I hate fucking using the term unprecedented, but like, how often is a manager, imagine you as a manager and you lose a member of your team, like a member of your team dies that are best mates with everyone. And you're like, what do we do in this scenario? I think the first 6 games papered over the cracks. But once it started getting hard, this Liverpool team, they've crumbled. It's been really difficult for them. I'm not saying that's solely down to Diogo. I'm not going to use that as the sole excuse, and I don't think we can.
No.
There are genuine issues with the football club at the moment. Squad building, morale. Like, there's way more issues than just Diogo, but that certainly doesn't help. We lose 3-0 to Nottingham Forest. Quite frankly, like, I mean, the last time we lost against Forest was actually last season. We lose 1-0.
Was it?
Yeah, we lose 1-0. Do you remember? We lose 1-0 at Anfield.
Was it at Anfield?
The only game we lose up until when we win the league. Do you remember that?
You know what? I just imagined that you won every game at Anfield last season.
So we lose to Forest early in the season. And for me, that was a bit of a gut check.
Okay.
It's like, okay, we're not who we think we are.
Yeah.
We lose to Forest. We go on to win the Premier League. They show up again this season, and quite frankly, they deserve the victory. I'll touch on Forest a little bit because I think they deserve a bit of focus.
Yeah, for the performance this year, they haven't been that great, honestly.
No, but like you have to give them some credit. They knew what they needed to do. They were playing quite direct. They were making it really difficult for Liverpool. I would say they weren't playing out from the back at all. Where if you look at like how Liverpool have managed to do well this season, Real Madrid play out from the back, Aston Villa play out from the back, Bournemouth they play out from the back,
Arsenal
play out from the back, Atleti play out from the back. Like teams that are willing to play out the back, Liverpool can. They use that. And I call it an identity, like a genuine DNA of the football club.
Yeah.
The gegenpressing mentality. It's like we are at Anfield. We are going to press teams really high and make it really difficult for people. Forest decided not to do that, and I don't blame them for not doing that. They play really direct early on in the game. They hold on, and once they go 1-0, they just have all of the confidence that they need to go on and win the fucking football game.
Yeah.
And like for me as a Liverpool fan, to watch a team do that at Anfield, it's not for me. Really
what first me about that is they don't even have a forward out there. They don't. They don't have a forward out there. They have midfielders playing forwards.
Kinda. What does Igor Jesus play?
I feel Igor Jesus does play forward, but it's not like a Premier League hardened forward.
No, he's a new player for them.
Yeah.
If we're looking at, I mean, he's a backup for sure. Like Chris Wood is their starter. Elliot Anderson is fucking impeccable throughout this game.
I mean, I think we need to dedicate an entire episode to Elliot Anderson because of how much we like him.
In a couple of weeks, guys, I'm going to set up a segment for Elliot Anderson, like how well he's done this season, because I think he is something to, what's the term, uphold. It's so impressive what he's done this year for Forest, especially considering like the form that they've been in and how well he's played. But Liverpool lose 3-0 at Anfield on the weekend. I come out of that game, honestly, really unhappy with where it's going. And looking at the weekend midweek, for a bit of respite. Like we've performed pretty well in the Champions League up to now. Wins over Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. We've performed pretty well. Today we lost 4-1 at Anfield against PSV. We go 1-0 down. Virgil van Dijk is doing something absolutely random in the box to concede a pen like in the first 5 minutes of the game, and it's a fucking stonewall penalty.
When I saw his arm, when I first saw the call for the penalty, I was like, "Oh, that's wild! Like a penalty in the box at Anfield, that doesn't make sense." And then I saw the replay
I wish that was the case.
Of the ham. I was like, "Wait, what is this?" It was like a handball, and I was like, "Handball? That seems." I mean, I watch the Prem every week, guys. I don't know what a handball is anymore in the Prem, but I know what a handball is in the Champions League. And if they call a handball in Champions League, I'm pretty sure it's a handball. And then I saw that handball, and I did not know what was he doing.
I don't know.
I honestly do not know what he was doing. I don't know why his hand was that high up. I thought it was a silly penalty to give away that early in the game.
It's just wild. Like for a team that has seen obvious fucking frailties at 1-0 down, to concede a goal that early, for me, I'm fearing the worst at that point.
The only thing I could think of was there someone behind them he thought that would get the head on the ball, and he decided, let me take the chance of getting the handball now, stopping the penalty versus someone having the shirt header in.
I respect that logical view to it.
That's what I think of.
I just think he's being a knobhead and has his hand in the fucking air for no reason.
All right.
So we can see the penalty. Perisic puts it away.
As much as I hate Luis Suarez, that handball that Luis Suarez had against Ghana was the best handball in the history of handballs. Well, second best. We won't get into that.
Maradona. Fuck off.
Sorry. If you hadn't known Jack's British, I'm not.
Yeah, fuck off. So we concede. We go 1-0 down. Honestly, at that point, I still feel Liverpool get back into it. They get back into it. They actually play really well at 1-0 down. They create the chance. They go 1-1. And from there, it's a calamitous disaster. They used the whole of the first half to try and get back into the game, and I think we're actually okay throughout most of the first half. From my perspective, we're still struggling to create like clear-cut chances in that first half, but at least for me, we show up in that first half. We don't have like a terrible game. We're playing the ball in their half. We're putting them under some pressure, but we're struggling to create anything of note. And when it goes 2-1 down off of a counterattack, and honestly, the counterattack was nice.
Yeah.
They do a really good job opening us up. Konate comes in the cover. Kirkes has to come all the way over from left back, and one of their players score for 2-1. So we're put in a situation then where we're 2-1 down. Liverpool basically go 1-0 down twice in the game. And I've seen Liverpool 1-0 down enough this season, and it doesn't go well, Ben.
Yeah, I was just going through and seeing their last three results. They were about 70% possession in PSV. They're about 70% possession in Forest, and then they were 50% possession against City, the other match.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago now. And it seems like even though they have possession and what looks like dominance on the ball, they don't win the matches. And the weird thing is, in the last week, City lost, Liverpool lost. There's a couple of other teams who had dominant possession I'm not going to call them a dominant team, but United lost even though they had dominant possession.
I'd say this season at home, they've been a dominant team.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into that United Forest game, United Everton game. We might
slaps.
at some point, but there's something they do tactically, which is a big red flag for me. But from Liverpool's perspective, it's like you consistently go 1-0 down, and I understand you're trying to mitigate disaster here, but to concede the second and react the way you did at 2-1 it's a huge problem for Liverpool going forward. We didn't really create much after that. In fact, Arne Slot made subs that absolutely hurt the structure of the team after that. And we stopped creating any clear-cut chances. Isak comes on and is a fucking ghost, a Swedish ghost. Doesn't do anything in those periods. And it's just so tough. I understand from Arne's perspective, he's just trying... Essentially, if you're losing, you bring on guys that can score goals. I completely understand it. But once you go 2-1 down, I've never been in a position, at least... God... Maybe under Hodgson, did I feel this way? Where if we're down, we lose. Now we're down and we lose, and there's questions to be asked, Ben.
So you said there's a question we asked of Arne Slot. What is the number one question you're asking Arne Slot?
What's your flight back to Holland?
Wow. All right. That's all right.
I think we're in a position where we've lost, 7 and 10 or whatever, all comps. For Liverpool Football Club to lose 2 games by 3 goals back-to-back at Anfield is an indictment to how we're playing at the moment. My dad, by the way, who is a Liverpool fan since 1965 or 66, messaged me after the game, and I said he said verbatim, I think he's done here. It's devastating to me that we've come to this, especially after the joys he brought us last year.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sit here and watch Liverpool fucking lose games at home in the manner we did today. It felt almost helpless at times. I watched PSV bop the ball around at Anfield, and our midfield wasn't close to it. Our defense was passive. Konate makes that fucking mistake for 3-1, and the game is absolutely finished from there.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunately, you've backed yourself into a corner where you've lost X amount of games in a row. you have like a really bad string of form in a specific amount of games.
Yeah.
I don't know what the solution is now.
And I'm not trying to do this digging at Jack because I love Jack and this is not what I'm doing. But in the last 3 games that Liverpool played, they've lost by 3 goals. That was City 3-0, Forest 3-0 at home,
Facts.
PSV 4-1 at home.
Absolute fact.
And I'll be honest. At one point, I was Arteta out. I've loved Arteta as a player. I've wanted him as a manager before. We had Unai Emery. And then I initially was happy with the FA Cup, and I was immediately then disenfranchised by Arteta and wanted Arteta out. And I can understand how management may be the problem here. Yes, there's individual contribution that you need to look at the players and say, hey, what are you doing as an individual player? But Jack and I are both PMs, project managers, program managers in our other lives, and we know that when a product fails, it is on us to ask the questions. Why is this failing? You had to do the work to make sure this product worked. And right now, the Liverpool product is not working. And that comes down to one thing.
It's your job as the PM to keep everyone on scope. And if people are straying from scope, then you need to make decisions to stop that from happening. And unfortunately, even if we're looking at like a clear underperformance from the players, and guys, I'm not even saying like Arne Slot isn't completely to blame for this. McAllister has been subpar this season. Mohamed Salah has been subpar this season. Virgil van Dijk hasn't performed to his best. McAllister hasn't performed to his best. There are players that we relied on to win us the league last year that have not performed to the expectations that we have for them as Liverpool football players. So now we're looking at it and like, where do we go from here? I think it's time for the manager to go. I don't see another way out of this, and I hate to say it because like I've heard this now for several weeks, like people wishing for the manager to go. I am there. What I hate about this ultimately is this is now not a forecast. Like Ben alluded to, I'm a project manager. We do forecasting. We do risk mitigation. We try and look at things in the future to make our job easier now. This isn't happening for Liverpool. If you sack Arne Slot, everything now is reactionary. So you need to get a manager in now that can turn Liverpool results around. Can I guarantee that's going to happen? Absolutely not. I can't guarantee that can happen. So if they decide to stick with him, I wouldn't blame them because the alternative is also unknown. So that's where we are. Liverpool lose 3-0 to Forest. Liverpool lose 4-1 to PSV at Anfield. That is the Regista Football Podcast for this week. Pub Diaries. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, y'all.